Hey, what is going on? It's Guy with Beard, Guns, and Gear. You probably noticed that a little bit different location today. I'm out at my brother's and we're in between the morning hunt and the evening hunt for deer. So I thought that because there was a lot of conversation about this firearm, both between my brother and I, and also with other viewers kind of wondering about it, and it wasn't mine, so I didn't really have access to it, but now I'm at my brother's, so I do. So we're going to talk about the Savage Arms 110 Magpul Hunter, which you can see in front of me. Give a little bit of specs about it, and I think he said that we've probably run about 50, 60 rounds through it. So our impressions up to this point, what we think about it. As you can see, Savage Arms, I like them. But it's kind of a mix, but you got to spend a little bit more money. Don't get the base entry model unless you're really not serious about hunting or whatever. Just for a little bit more money, you get so much more bang for the buck, pun intended. Especially when you're talking about like the companies like Ruger and Savage, those budget-friendly firearms. Although I have to say, au contraire, I'm very, very impressed with the Ruger Rancher that I bought, and that is somewhere in the middle, I guess, with the price point being around $800 Canadian. It doesn't take very much to get that firearm adequate or enjoyable, and it's one of my favorite firearms right now to shoot. So I actually have it out here hunting with me. So like I said, I'll talk a little bit about the specs. First of all, price line. These right now are listed on the Savage website at $1,049, that's US dollars, and Canadian they're going to cost you anywhere between $1,200 and $1,300. You get, for that package, the 110 Hunter. Again, Hunter, that's kind of a funny term for this because starting at 8.9 pounds before you put a scope or muzzle brake or a bipod or anything else on it, or even a full magazine, it's chunky. I mean, that's a little bit of heft. Could you hunt it? Sure. Would I do like 5-6 kilometers with this on my back as it's set up right now? No, I'd probably look for other options. So 110 Hunter, I'm not so sure how much of the hunt. In fact, if you go to the website, it says like introduction, basically precision shooting. So that in itself should give you a little bit of a hint about what your purpose would be if you were in the market for something like this. And this appeals to anybody who is not strictly hunting, but enjoys recreational shooting for sure, or thinks they want to do both and doesn't have that far to walk. Certainly this is enjoyable. So it is a bolt action. This particular one is chambered in 308. It is available in others, but this one is in 308. And what do you get for the $1,200 to $1,300? Cerakoted barrel, Cerakote gray, which is really, really nice. And again, if you're a hunter, if you're lugging that out in the woods, that's one less thing to worry about is the rust and corrosion. Certainly you still want to protect it, but it's a lot more resistant to the elements. It also has, the receiver part is also in Cerakoted gray, which you can see. And you get this nice looking Magpul chassis on a full aluminum bedding blocks. So it is set up for decent accuracy for sure. And we've got way below MOA. I don't have any pie plates to show you, but we've shot this thing a little bit. Unfortunately, we had a lot of other firearms to be doing zeroing on, and he was not intending on taking this one hunting, so there wasn't much attention focused on it, but we have plans to bring this out in the range and try some cheap, like, full metal jacket stuff and see what we can get. But this is well below 1 MOA. For sure, for sure, for sure. Heavy barrel in the 18-inch. It is carbon steel, which is really nice. It takes AICS mag, so when you buy it, you get a 5-round Magpul PMag 7.62 by 51, and it doesn't take very much before you can find an AICS mag that fits your purposes. This particular one, 10 rounds, and this one is made by MDT. MDT makes really good stuff, Canadian company as well. They have a similar chassis setup actually, but it's aluminum. And the muzzle brake on this is actually an MDT muzzle brake, and it looks super awesome on the end of it. muzzle brakes just make all firearms look sexy. So it does come with a threaded barrel, standard threads 5/8, I believe. So very easy to find muzzle brakes for it, and take your choice. This is a nice big fat one. It's directional as well, so it's going to help you with that recoil. A good muzzle brake will reduce recoil by 20 to 30%. So he's certainly getting that out of this. Length of pull is adjustable, as well as your cheek riser height, but you have to buy the pieces. It kind of attaches to the Magpul furniture itself. But length of pull is very easy, just like most of the Savage firearms. There's spacers in here. So this one is anywhere from 13 to 15. My brother's got very long gorilla arms, so he has kept it at the very max, and it fits very well. Good squishy recoil pad on the back of it. It's got the AccuTrigger adjustable, 1.5 to 4 pounds, user adjustable. So we're not sure what it came from the factory, and I have this little gadget here that will measure the trigger pull. So we're gonna do that right now and see what this little fella, it's pretty light. So I'm gonna guess, I don't know, I'm gonna guess it's around the 2 pound mark starting. So we'll see. We'll do 3 trigger pulls just to kind of get a constant or an average. That is very light. So this is showing a 2¼ pound. So not surprised. So we'll try again. And I mean, this is probably not the most accurate one that you can get. It's a lever, but it's Wheeler, so it should be pretty decent. Okay, that time we got almost 2½ pounds. Try once more, take the average. I like this one though because it does have a little rubber grip on the end of the trigger pull thing, so it keeps it. That was pretty quick. That was just over 2 pounds, so I'm going to say the average is about a 2¼ pound trigger pull, which is, I mean, very good. Would you want to hunt with that? Personally, I like a little bit heavier trigger hunting, but for precision and accuracy target shooting, that's perfect. 2 pounds, it should really crack, and it is nice too. The trigger feel itself, I mean, it's a Savage AccuTrigger, but once you get kind of used to that little blade and you take up the slack, there's no squishiness at all. You're right up against the wall, almost instantaneous, and I mean, it's a crisp break. So very nice trigger on this. I would leave it where it is at 2¼ I think that's a good spot to be at for target shooting. So we'll talk a little bit, that's most of, oh, I should talk, the overall length of the firearm is 38¼ inches, or in centimeters for my Canadian friends out there, or European friends, 97.155. So it's not overly long, it's pretty compact, it's a nice size. I like the 18-inch barrel, I like a short barrel. It just looks better. I don't think it adds anything. Obviously, if you were going for really long range, maybe you want a little bit longer barrel, but I think this thing looks cool, especially with that muzzle brake on the end of it. So, pros, there's a heck of a lot of them. Cons, I mean, call it the Hunter, and then starting in at 8.9 pounds, I think it's a little heavy to really be called a Hunter, but like I said, Savage puts together some good packages, and as far as pros go, factory blueprinted action. So sometimes Savage actions can be a little sloppy. This is factory blueprinted, and you can see how nice and smooth that is. Yeah, buddy. Chambers very well. It's got that big oversized knurled bolt handle on it, which if you don't like, and I don't know why you wouldn't like it, but you could certainly change that. I'm gonna say it's a 70-degree angle of throw for the bolt, because it does come a ways up there, and you can see how close that is in interfering with the scope. But he's got this monstrous Vortex Hog Hunter, which is like a 3-to-12 and a 55 opening at the other end. So, I mean, it fits. Look at that. He didn't have to go with like super high scope mounts as well. It does come with a 20 MOA scope mount Picatinny rail, which is nice as well, because sometimes you have to buy that. So that's another pro. The fact that it basically comes, you know, put an optic on it, you're ready to shoot. Heavy barrel, that's another pro if you're doing target shooting, or if you want to put like a lot of rounds through this thing. It comes with a heavy barrel. I like the M-lock, okay? That's definitely a pro. So you can put your bipod here, and he already put something for a QD sling. So M-lock, I'd like to see it down a little bit further maybe. Like if I had one complaint about the M-lock, I'd like to see it down here a little bit, because sometimes maybe you want to mount your bipod here more at towards the rear of the rifle, which gives you more room up in the front. But again, and then you could also attach a sling or whatever. But maybe a couple more, just a couple, you know, 2 more slots there I think would be handy and helpful. That AccuTrigger, that's a pro. Aluminum bedding block, so definitely going to be able to check your torque settings. I will say that every time you buy a new rifle, check your torque settings on your bedding, your receiver, because I have had a couple of issues where the rifle has not been shooting well, and sure enough, go and check these, and they were way. Yeah,
we did have to tighten this one up. It was loose.
Yeah, yeah. So check your torque settings, but it does have a nice solid aluminum bedding block. So you should have no problem in there. It's not painted, so there shouldn't be any overspray issues. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the video about my dream rifle that became a nightmare and then became a dream again. These are all pros. Like I said, the only thing I can think of, and now granted we haven't thrown a lot of lead down range with this thing yet, that it's a little chunky. But all of the rifles in this category are going to be about the same. Even that Bergara Wilderness Ridge that I have starts at 9.3 pounds. So they're all going to be around this weight. So is this heavier than the rest of them? No, absolutely not. But it is a chunky guy. If you were considering picking up just a straight up hunting rifle, I would say there's other options if you're worried about the weight. But if you want something that you could kind of do both in, or if you want something that just looks cool and is fun to shoot, this is your guy right here. Savage, I've had no problems. I have no complaints about it. I've never had a Savage rifle that I've shot, or even that shot somebody else's, that I've gone, what a piece of crap. You definitely get what you pay for, and this is a very budget friendly as far as I'm concerned. Tactical, it checks off a bunch of boxes for me. I mean, if you went all out and put like a really expensive scope on this, I bet you could squeeze a lot of accuracy, and you would surprise your friends maybe that are out there shooting much higher priced rifles, even with Macmillan or Cadex chassis. My next goal is going to be find something comparable with a different chassis. I'm kind of thinking MDT, and kind of do a little face off and see which one we like better, or see which one, you know, try and keep the cost around the same, but see if we can get like comparable results from another chassis. But this is definitely nice. I just can't buy one now because he already has one, and we all know how sibling rivalry works. So if you have one of these in your collection or in your arsenal or whatever you want to call it, let me know what you guys are using it for. If you are using it hunting, is it really I mean, with a short barrel, at least you're not going to get caught up on branches lugging it through the woods. But I mean, you better be in good shape if you're lugging this thing around. And with that scope that he put on it, boy oh boy, like I can see that thing like flipping around and thumping you in the back a couple times. But with the QD on the side, at least it's going to be less prone, and you do have your slots there as well. So don't forget, please like, subscribe, helping me out. We're going to be doing more videos now because hunting season is kind of coming to an end. So it's sad. It makes me sad, but it means more time to spend at the range shooting and having fun. Like, subscribe, comment please. Guy with Beard, Guns, and Gear, and we'll see you soon.